So recently I found out that NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers is not a mindless religious zealot. He's a man who thinks for himself. He's a grown ass man.
I'm a grown ass man.
So let's hear what he had to say during a recent interview.
I'm Danica Patrick, and I'm pretty intense.
Most people that I knew, church was just, you just had to go. Your parents made you go, you wake up, you put some clothes on, you go, and you can't wait to get back and watch the second game of the day in the NFL on TV. But I started going to Young Life, and that's where I met Matt Hawk, who you know, Matt was leading our Young Life group there for a while, and he was the first Christian that I met where I was like, man, like this dude like swears every now and then. He loves sports. He like coaches sports. He's like, he's an awesome dude. Like he's just a really rad guy to be around. I kind of like, the way that he talks about Jesus and the way that he talks about what it means to have a relationship with Christ. Like that's pretty cool. So I enjoyed my time with Young Life. We did some amazing outreach stuff. We went to Mexico during 2 spring breaks and built houses in like Florida, outside Tijuana, rough areas. We erected from slab to walls to tar in the roof to stucco on the outside. Like we put together, homes for these folks who were living in, garage door sides, thrown together and stuff. And that was meaningful. That was like really meaningful work. And there's not really a Young Life for college. It gets into more organized, athletes in action or whatever it might be, campus organizations. And I just didn't find any connection points with those things and started questioning things and had friends who had other beliefs and enjoyed learning. That's kind of a part of my life. Had some good friendships along the way that helped me, to figure out what exactly I wanted to believe in. And ultimately it was that rules and regulations and binary systems don't really resonate with me. Enjoyed learning about other religions and meeting the Dalai Lama. And, it's been a fun path to a different type of spirituality, which to me is it's been more meaningful.
Would you separate the two, being spirituality and religion?
So the rundown real quick, so far he's said before, very common story. So as somebody who's young, doesn't matter what religion you are, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, Buddhist, whatever it is, that person that's representing that religion, that's teaching that religion to you, that mentor, you're going to associate religion with that person. So if they're a good person, they're wise, they're generous, and obviously this group that he was with actually did meaningful work, providing. He didn't talk about providing food that a lot of organizations do, but obviously providing housing in very poor parts of the world where you get a real idea of what real poverty is. So helping people, obviously these are very positive things, and he had some good influences. Now, I would argue if you actually look into the Bible, you see a lot of things that I would argue are not good, but the bottom line is if you have a Christian teacher, a representative of the faith who is a good person, then they are representing Christianity, kind of making Christianity in their image, saying this is a good, loving religion. Once again, I'd argue that there's things in the text that are against that, but looks like he had a very typical Christian upbringing, Christian influence, brought up in a Christian family, and had some good influences as far as mentors. But you also notice he talked about learning other religions, which is going to cast some doubt when you look at other beliefs. And obviously, how can there be one true one when you look at religion being really about logistics? Where you're born, people predominantly are the religion of their parents and the family they brought up in. So how can you say one is true when really if you were born in a different part of the world or perhaps in a different time, you would simply be a different religion. But I'll hush up now and let's get to the rest of this interview.
Like, you were religious and now you're spiritual?
I think both can work for people. I do. I think some people just need structure and they need tradition and stuff, and that works for them. And I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah. How far back can you go and identify, like, yeah, I thought it was weird when I was 4, like, or whatever? Is there an example? Can you identify when the skeptic and the questioner in you was really present?
I mean, high school for sure, because I had 2 groups I was going to. I was going to church on Sundays and then to Young Life on Mondays. And Young Life on Monday welcomed everyone. It's like,
Right.
come as you are. Be there at 7:29.
Yep.
And like be ready for some fun. And it was fun, and we had a great time. Church on Sundays was like more, make sure you dress a certain way and don't bring that person, and this person's going to get looked at strangely if they show up. And I think, again, it's very black and white, binary sense, but I don't think it's very welcoming. Religion can be a crutch, can be something that people have to make themselves feel better. And because it's set up binary, it's us and them. It's saved and unsaved. It's heaven and hell. It's enlightened and heathen. It's holy and righteous and sinner and filthy. And I think that makes a lot of people feel better about themselves. Is that, I got Jesus, and, I'm saved, and I'm going to heaven, and there's only 144,000 of us going, even though there's 7 billion people on the planet. And, I don't know how you can believe in a God who wants to condemn most of the planet, to a fiery hell. Like, what type of loving, sensitive, omnipresent, omnipotent being wants to condemn most of his beautiful creation to a fiery hell at the end of all this?
So that's the interview. So he experienced hypocrisy in the church. So kind of this elitist attitude that went against Sermon on the Mount with Jesus Christ, where he's more loving, reaching out to people, and then bringing a common criticism of a God that would ban every other religion to hell. This has caused many Christians to reject hell. Now, they still call themselves Christian, but they'd reject the notion of hell because their image of Jesus doesn't come from the Gospel of John. Believe, 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 as long as you believe. And then if you don't believe, you go to hell. But as long as you believe, character doesn't matter. But when you look at the Sermon of the Mount, it's character does matter. The word belief doesn't exist once. So it's really these different views of Jesus, and an issue with, hell really is a despicable, that this concept that everybody who isn't a Christian would be tortured forever, would burn forever, is so morally and intellectually repulsive that it's amazing not more people bring it up as an issue. Now, commonly people do. He's bringing up as an issue. People have been bringing this up as a major issue for centuries. So this argument goes back a long, long time. But to be able to justify that only based on belief, only based on faith, only based on your feelings, you could be the most horrible, cruel person in the world, but still go to heaven. And then somebody who's the best person, but because of logistics, because of where they were born, is going to suffer for all eternity. Basically, that kind of thinking means that the terrorist Timothy McVeigh can be in heaven, while the victims at Oklahoma City bombing, since it happened in the 90s, every second of every day afterwards have been tortured and are horrible torment. I mean, this is just, once again, so morally and intellectually repulsive. So it makes sense for him to have an issue with that. It's great to see people that think for themselves. I've seen critics of him talk about how he said he wants to feel or looking for a religion that he wants to believe in, and kind of this, oh, well, he's going based on his feeling and facts don't care about your feelings and all that other crap. But really, when he's saying feeling, he's talking about the way he thinks, and he thinks for himself. He's not one of these completely mindless zealots that just keeps repeating, oh, Jesus was perfect and was sacrificed and died for our sins so we can get into heaven, and just keeps brainlessly repeating these Bible verses that make absolutely no sense. So it sounds like he's calling himself spiritual, whatever that means, kind of getting away from Christianity, rather than these people that still say, well, I'm a Christian, but I reject hell. But obviously just a far more independent-minded Christian. And it should be really important to point out that Thomas Jefferson, who had the word creator in the Declaration of Independence, where a lot of Christians say, oh, that makes the United States of America a Christian country because it has that one word. He was a very independent-minded Christian who didn't believe in any of the so-called miracles in the Bible, who believed that the story of Jesus's virgin birth was a myth. Now, what Christian today believes that the story of Jesus's virgin birth from Mary was a myth? So I'm glad to see that Aaron Rodgers is an independent thinker, thinking for himself, more of a philosopher, and having brains regarding these discussions rather than just being one of these many mindless religious zealots. It was refreshing to see this interview. So that's my take on it. Please share yours. This is Jim Wall. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Cisco, do we have to leave all our good friends now? Only until next time, Pancho. Adios, amigos.